Welcome to the third video in my series, The Iceberg of German Fluency. In this series, we're taking a deep dive into the 6 levels of German learning, from A1 to C2, to uncover what you need to know at each stage in order to master the language. At this point in the series, we've already moved below the surface of the iceberg. The B1 level marks the transition from beginner to intermediate German. While A1 and A2 are about building a basic foundation, B1 is where you begin to expand your communication skills, navigate more complex situations, and develop a deeper understanding of the language. You'll gain the ability to discuss a wider range of topics, express your opinions, and explain your reasoning behind it. In this video, just like in the previous ones, I'll break down the B1 level into 4 parts. A general overview of what the B1 level is and what you can expect to achieve. The official CEFR description at the B1 level so that you understand how your skills are measured, a list of grammar topics that you'll need to master in order to succeed at this level, and the conversational and communicative topics you should focus on in order to reach B1 proficiency. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear understanding of what it means to be at the B1 level and how to prepare for it. Be sure to check the video description for links to resources and lessons to help you along the way. Let's dive into the B1 level. The general overview. At the B1 level, you become an independent user of German. This means you can handle most everyday conversations, talk about familiar topics, and even express your thoughts and opinions in simple terms. You'll begin to understand the main points of spoken and written German in standard language, especially when it comes to work, school, or leisure-related activities. The vocab at this level expands to about 2,000 to 2,500 words, and most learners reach B1 after approximately 300 to 400 hours of study, usually about 1 to 1.5 years of consistent practice. Now for the CEFR explanation. Listening. I can understand the main points of clear, standard speech on familiar matters regularly encountered in work, school, leisure, etc. I can understand the main points of many radio or TV programs on current affairs or topics of personal or professional interest when the delivery is relatively slow and clear. At this point, you can follow conversations about everyday topics and grasp the overall idea of audio content like podcasts or news clips, as long as they aren't too fast. For example, you might understand a radio segment about an upcoming festival. Am Wochenende fängt das Oktoberfest in München an. Es gibt viele Attraktionen und gutes Essen. This weekend, the Oktoberfest in Munich starts. There are many attractions and good food. Reading. I can understand text that consist mainly of high-frequency, everyday, or job-related language. I can understand the description of events, feelings, and wishes in personal letters. You'll be able to read simple articles, emails, and even short stories, and get the gist of them. For example, you can follow an article about tips for saving money, or reading a letter from a friend describing their recent vacation. Spoken interaction. I can deal with most situations likely to arise whilst traveling in an area where the language is spoken. I can enter unprepared into conversation on topics that are familiar, of personal interest, or pertinent to everyday life. Example, families, hobbies, work, travel, and current events. At this level, you can participate in conversations about your interests, work, or studies. For example, you could handle a conversation about your favorite hobbies. Ich spiele gern Tennis. Und du? Was magst du in deiner Freizeit? I like to play tennis. And you? What do you like to do in your free time? Spoken production. I can connect phrases in a simple way in order to describe experiences and events, my dreams, hopes, and ambitions. I can briefly give reasons and explanations for opinions and plans. I can narrate a story or relate the plot of a book or film and describe my reactions. You'll begin to express yourself with more than just simple sentences. For example, you can describe a recent trip. Letztes Jahr bin ich nach Hamburg gefahren. Es war sehr interessant, weil ich das Miniatur-Wunderland besucht habe. Last year, I drove to Hamburg. It was very interesting because I visited the miniature wonderland. Writing. I can write simple, connected text on topics which are familiar or of personal interest. I can write personal letters describing experiences and impressions. You'll start to write longer texts like emails or short essays. For example, you could write an email thanking a friend for their help. Vielen Dank für deine Unterstützung bei meinem Projekt. Ohne deine Hilfe hätte ich das nicht geschafft. Thank you for your support with my project. Without your help, I wouldn't have accomplished it. Necessary grammar. At the B1 level, you'll start to solidify your understanding of basic grammar and expand into more complex structures. You'll notice that you have a lot of topics listed at this level that are also listed at other levels, including the A2 level, which is below this one. That's because at each level you are expanding your understanding of those topics and learning new ways to use the grammar that you haven't learned before. Here's a list of grammar topics that you should master at the B1 level, with links in the description for most of them. Verbs. Konjunktiv 2 for hypotheticals and politeness. Wenn ich Zeit hätte, könnten Sie mir helfen? If I had time, could you help me? Futur 2 for what will be done in the future. Wird gegangen sein. He will have gone. Fixed prepositions. Sich freuen auf. Abhängen von. Denken an. To look forward to depend on, and to think about. Verbs requiring the genitive case. Sich bedienen, sich bewusst sein, to be used to something, to appreciate or be aware of. Past tense with passive voice. Das Auto wurde repariert. The car was repaired. Lassen constructions. Ich lasse meine Haare schneiden. I am getting my hair cut, or I'm letting my hair be cut. Sentence structure. Subordinate clauses with indem, so dass, da, and obwohl. Whilst, so that, because, and although. Relative clauses with prepositions. Die Frau, mit der ich gesprochen habe, the woman with whom I spoke. Conditional sentences. Wenn ich das gewusst hätte, if I had known that. Advanced word order. Je mehr ich lerne, desto besser werde ich. The more I learn, the better I become. Nouns and articles. Genitive case with prepositions. Wegen des Regens. Because of the rain. Declension of adjectives as nouns. Der Kleine ist schneller als der Große. The little one is faster than the tall one. Expanded use of weak nouns. Der Junge becoming des Jungen and dem Jungen, the boy. Pronouns. Advanced relative pronouns. Dessen and deren, which both mean whose. Indefinite pronouns such as jemand, niemand, man, and etwas. Someone, no one, and something or some. Demonstrative pronouns like dieser, jener, derselbe, this, that, and the same. Adjectives. Adjective endings in all four cases. Comparative phrases. Je mehr, desto besser. The more, the better. Adjectives with prepositional complements. Interessiert an, stolz auf, abhängig von. Interested in, proud of, and dependent on. Prepositions. Idiomatic expressions such as im Rahmen von and in Bezug auf, with the frame of and with regards to. Prepositional adverbs. Darauf, daran, damit. Upon that, on that, and with that. Genitive prepositions. Trotz, wegen, and während. Despite, because of, and during. The passive voice. Modal verbs in the passive voice. Das muss gemacht werden. That had to be done. Past tense of modal verbs in the passive voice. Das hätte gemacht werden können. This could have been done. Impersonal passive voice. Es wird getanzt. There is dancing. Reported speech or indirekte Rede. Present. Sagt, habe keine Zeit. He says he doesn't have time. Past. Sagte, hätte keine Zeit gehabt. He said he wouldn't have time. Conversational and communicative topics. At B1, you should practice speaking about a wider range of topics and begin discussing opinions and experiences. Here's a list to guide your practice. Everyday functional communication. Making and changing appointments. Ich wollte fragen, ob wir unseren Termin verschieben können. Passt dir Montag 10 Uhr besser? I wanted to ask if our appointment could be postponed. Does Monday at 10 o'clock work better for you? Dealing with problems and complaints. Die Heizung funktioniert nicht. Können Sie jemand schicken? Ich habe ein Problem mit meiner Bestellung. The heat doesn't work. Can you send someone? I have a problem with my order. Giving and asking for advice. Was soll ich tun, wenn ich in Deutschland krank werde? Ich empfehle dir, einen Arzt aufzusuchen. What should I do if I get sick in Germany? I recommend you find a doctor. Explaining rules and instructions. Zuerst drücken Sie den grünen Knopf, dann wählen Sie eine Option. First push the green button, then choose an option. Emotions, reactions, and preferences. Reacting to news or experiences. Das klingt spannend. Ich war total überrascht, als ich das gehört habe. That sounds exciting. I was completely surprised when I heard that. Expressing hopes, dreams, and wishes. Ich hoffe, dass ich bald eine Arbeit finde. Ich würde gern mal nach Österreich reisen. I hope that I find work soon. I would like to travel to Austria once. Comparing options and expressing preferences. Ich finde das Haus schöner als die Wohnung. Lieber Kaffee als Tee, bitte. I find the house more beautiful than the apartment. Coffee rather than tea, please. Life situations. Finding housing or describing living situations. Ich suche eine Wohnung in der Nähe vom Zentrum. Meine Wohnung hat 2 Zimmer und einen Balkon. I'm looking for an apartment near the city center. My apartment has 2 rooms and a balcony. Navigating bureaucracy. Wo bekomme ich einen Anmeldeschein? Ich brauche einen Termin im Bürgerbüro. Where can I get a registration form? I need an appointment at the citizen's office. Talking about finances or budgeting. Ich muss diesen Monat sparen. Wie viel kostet das Ticket? I have to save money this month. How much does the ticket cost? Culture and media. Discussing TV shows, books and movies. Ich habe gestern einen spannenden Krimi gesehen. Das Buch war interessant, aber das Ende war enttäuschend. I watched a thrilling crime story yesterday. The book was interesting, but the ending was disappointing. Talking about traditions and holidays. Wie feiert man Weihnachten in Deutschland? Bei uns gibt es am 6. Dezember den Nikolaus. How do people celebrate Christmas in Germany? We celebrate St. Nicholas on the 6th of December. Describing cultural differences. In Deutschland ist Pünktlichkeit sehr wichtig. In meinem Heimatland machen wir das anders. In Germany, punctuality is very important. In my home country, we do things differently. School, work, and career. Describing educational experiences. Ich habe in meiner Heimat Biologie studiert. Ich mache eine Ausbildung als Elektriker. I studied biology in my home country. I'm training to be an electrician. Talking about job applications and work tasks. Ich habe mich eine Stelle als Verkäufer beworben. In meinem Job telefoniere ich viel mit Kunden. I've applied for a sales position. My job involves a lot of phone calls with customers, handling interviews or introducing professional experience. Ich habe 3 Jahre Erfahrung im Kundenservice. I have 3 years of experience in customer service. Emergencies and unexpected situations. Describing an accident or emergency. Ich habe mir den Arm verletzt. Es tut sehr weh. Es gab einen Unfall auf der Straße. I injured my arm. It hurts a lot. There was an accident on the road. Calling for help or describing symptoms. Ich brauche einen Arzt. Ich habe Kopfschmerzen und Fieber. I need a doctor. I have a headache and a fever. That's what you need to reach B1 proficiency in German. You're no longer just dabbling. You're functioning. Sure, you'll make mistakes, but you're thinking in the language, navigating the culture, and growing your confidence every day. B1 is your passport to independence in German. You're through the surface of the water and you're ready to explore the vast iceberg beneath. And in the next video, we'll dive even deeper into the B2 level, where things get really exciting. Check the video description for grammar lessons, practice activities, and a link to my full list of recommended resources. Bis bald und viel Erfolg beim Deutschlernen!